Great draft day values is a huge part to winning your fantasy leagues, especially when you pivot for bigger upside while other people just follow the simple ADP. So who are some draft day steals at better ADPs than their counterparts? I got 4 for you. And don't forget, as you're listening to this show, download the Underdog app or head on over to their website and sign up using code word headliners. If you use our code, they are going to match your deposit up to $100. But on top of it, for the first 1,000 people that use our code to sign up, you're going to get a free 2023 fantasy football draft guide from us, and you're going to be entered into a drawing to pick an item of your choice from Jake's office. Not only all of that, but we're going to be posting best ball drafts all year long for our community to participate with us. Head on over to Underdog and use that code word headliners. A major difference between normal fantasy leagues and best ball leagues is going to be finding guys with those high upsides. In fact, in best ball, it can be more detrimental to your roster to find those consistent playmakers that are going to give you good points every single week. You want guys that can blow the roof off the house every week. So for instance, over on Underdog, Nick Chubb's ADP is currently 27.9, which in a traditional fantasy league is great. He's going to be consistent. He's going to get you around 100 yards every single week, and the hope is that he scores touchdowns. But if he doesn't score touchdowns, you're going to be a little bit disappointed potentially with his performance. So instead of picking up a guy like Nick Chubb, who I absolutely love, I'm going to pick up a guy like Ramondre Stevenson instead, who's coming just a few spots after him. The Patriots may have brought in James Robinson to back up Ramondre Stevenson, but this isn't going to be your typical 1A, 1B split with this team that we've seen in the past. James Robinson can still do some things well, but he is not the same guy since his Achilles injury. He got off to a hot start last year, but it was really propelled by just a couple of big runs here and there. He was not consistently good. Ramondre Stevenson is a 3-down back, and in your best ball leagues, this is going to be a guy that is not only going to add some big games on the ground because he's got that big playability, but he's going to score some touchdowns, and best of all, he's going to get some really good receiving work. So if you told me all season long Nick Chubb is going to get you right around 10 to 12 half PPR points a week, I would say, okay, that's not bad. But if you want to win your league, grab Ramondre Stevenson, who in best ball leagues, yeah, maybe some weeks won't be as good as Nick Chubb, but other weeks we're talking 25, 30 fantasy points a week. What about at the tight end position? It is still crazy to me that Kyle Pitts is being drafted so high. His ADP right now is sitting right around 63.4. And I mean, if you want a tight end that's going to get you 8 targets a game, but he might only catch 4 of them for like 40 to 60 yards, and let's face it, he's got 3 touchdowns in the last 2 years, that's not really something that's helping us out either. So with an ADP of 85.5, give me Evan Ingram. Even with Calvin Ridley coming back this year, Evan Ingram is going to be a guy that's going to be heavily utilized by Trevor Lawrence. Now again, in your traditional fantasy leagues, Evan Ingram is going to disappear some weeks because you've got so many weapons there that he's going to end up giving the ball to maybe one guy a little bit more one week, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley. Maybe they run it a little bit more with Travis Etienne, and Evan Ingram just isn't going to have that good of a week. But there are going to be other weeks where Evan Ingram will absolutely blow up. If he gives you 100 yards and a touchdown, that's going to outdo Kyle Pitts 9 times out of 10. So if I'm looking at value at the tight end position, I'm saying absolutely not to Kyle Pitts, and give me all the Evan Ingram, and I'll just back him up later on with a guy maybe like Pat Freiermuth, who will be a little bit more consistent. So when Evan Ingram does have those down weeks, Patty F is there to step in and help balance it out. Another Atlanta ADP that doesn't make sense to me right now is Drake London. His ADP is coming in at 46.3, but the question around that offense is really going to be Desmond Ridder. Is he going to be able to provide high volume fantasy output every single week? Now with Drake London, the targets are probably going to be there, but how efficient will those targets be? Will Atlanta add another wide receiver in the draft? What do they do? Is Kyle Pitts going to be healthy coming back into this season? Do they run the football as much as they did last year? Because if they do, that is going to cap Drake London's ceiling every week. So at 56.8, why don't we go with the much disrespected every year Tyler Lockett? Tyler Lockett is the epitome of best ball leagues. This is a guy whose biggest weeks will win us weeks on their own. And we've seen him do it with Geno Smith already. These guys were just fine last year. So we don't need to worry about the what ifs anymore. Tyler Lockett's big weeks are going to be way better than Drake London's big weeks. I don't care about, again, give me 10 targets for Drake London a week. That is fine. Give me 5, 6 targets for Tyler Lockett, and he'll do a lot more with those than what London will. What about the quarterback position? Dak Prescott right now, going at 85.7, is all right for an ADP. He's got plenty of weapons around him. This is going to be a good offense. We know that. There are a couple of questions like, will Tony Pollard be healthy? But we'll answer those in due time. But I've got a much better option for you. I would much rather have Jared Goff at 118.1 than Dak Prescott so much earlier. Jared Goff has all the weapons around him. We know Amon-Ra St. Brown is that guy, right? Jameson Williams is going to be fully healthy this year. This is one of the best running games in all of football with 2 very talented running backs and one of the best offensive lines in the nation. So if you're looking for big games, Dak Prescott could absolutely give that to you. But Jared Goff could give you the same type of big game value quite a few picks later, and you could use that spot to draft somebody else. I would much rather have Jared Goff in best ball leagues this year than I would like to have Dak Prescott. Jared Goff's biggest issue last year was just performing consistently on the road, but we knew at home that he was going to have banger games, and I absolutely anticipate that happening again in 2023. So skip on Dak, give me Jared Goff much later, and get the same type of fantasy output at a much better value. Yo, make sure you hop on over at Underdog so you can get ready to get in our next draft that we host. Again, use that code word headliners, get yourself signed up, deposit $20, and you're gonna get a bunch of stuff with it. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all tuning into this show. Peace out, stay safe and healthy, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.